draft. All right, guys, here we go. 7-4.
Oh, boy.
Let's see. Oh,
no.
Wemby tossed it out the first pitch at the Yankees game last night. Guess since the Knicks are not going to get him, Yankee fans took a moment, and actually you could barely hear it, but there were some boos. It's New York. Several websites posting that in the words of Bob Uecker, it was just a bit outside. The MLB Network joked that maybe he should stick to basketball. Well, really? Duh. Thanks, guys, for that. As you can see, Victor Wembanyama is making the rounds in the Big Apple before the NBA draft coming up tomorrow night in Brooklyn. The French star, likely Spurs top pick, Yankee Stadium to throw out that first pitch of the Yankees-Mariners game, and posted this photo of him holding a baseball on his Instagram account. It looks like a golf ball in his hands. Look how big those hands are. He covered the whole baseball. Man, he also
0-1. Fontenelle flares it behind short into center, and it drops down. Nunez scored.
Proverbial must-win situation. The College World Series yesterday facing the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles for the second time in just 5 days. The Horned Frogs led early, never looked back, 4-0 in the fifth inning, and 2-on. And that was San Antonio's own Clark High School alum Anthony Silva. He had that single to left field. 2 runs came in. That put the lead up to 6-0. They win it 6-1. Horned Frogs will now play today at 1 o'clock. San Antonio time to face number 2 Florida. And congratulations to Mission's outfielder Terso Ornelas. He was named the Texas League Player of the Week by Major League Baseball last week against Amarillo. He batted .520, 4 home runs, and hit 3 doubles. He also drove in 14 runs, scored 9 times. The second Missions player to win a weekly award from Major League Baseball this season. Unfortunately, come out the way they liked. They ended up losing to the Rockhounds 7-4.
In the next half hour, I-95 in Philadelphia had collapsed 2 weeks ago, and part of it is now ready to reopen. How the state was able to get it finished sooner than expected.
And here we go, SA Live. Oh, we're doing some dancing today.
Are we line dancing?
Is that line dancing? Can't hear the music. I hope that's country music, probably.
Oh,
that's
no.
what I'm hoping. Little scene. Ooh, it's a different country. Got to move.
And those are jazz hands.
I don't know what that was.
Summer officially beginning today, according to our meteorologist. Yep. And our state, yes, it is seeing a record heat wave.
Experts predict much of the country is in for a hot season. According to the National Weather Service, several Texas cities have new heat records from this week. Justin pointed that out a few minutes ago, including here in San Antonio. Officials are worried about a record-setting strain on the power grid.
Voluntary conservation is a very widely used industry tool that can help lower demand for specific periods of time.
Yeah, and the rest of the country isn't off the hook either. Officials predict above average temperatures in most states this summer.
So I have to admit that I like it cold at night when I'm sleeping. And I have to also admit that my air conditioner could not keep up last night. I think the house just got that warm.
I don't want to see your bill, Ursula.
I know.
Everyone's bill is going to be up this summer, just the way things are going. But it is the first official day of summer. We hit the summer solstice this morning right around 10 o'clock. Of course, it's the tilt of the Earth as the northern hemisphere tilts closer to the sun. We have our longest day of the year today, and of course, hot temperatures ahead as we move into summer. And this is a good remedy. Find a pool. This guy did. Keeping cool. I don't blame you. Looks pretty comfortable there. Looks like there's even some shade. Love that. That's what you got to find these days. This is the current heat index, 104 here in San Antonio. These numbers are climbing very quickly. Bandera feels like 116 right now. 101 in Seguin, 106 in New Braunfels. Huge numbers. Could we get any relief from some rain tonight? Possible. It's not a guarantee, but about a 40% chance of rain. I'd say once we get past dinner time, we'll watch for storms that develop to our north and work their way in our direction. More on this forecast in just a bit. Now we'll toss it over to Stephen.
All right, drivers, you may not love it, but there is plenty of road work taking place in and around the Alamo City. So as a quick reminder, remember this. It's all to improve our roadways and make your commute a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and get started about what's happening here along US 90 on the far west side of Bexar County. Guardrail repairs. This does begin Wednesday, June 21st, and hopefully will wrap pretty early at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's overnight, 8:30 in the evening to 5 o'clock, as I mentioned. Single eastbound lane closures from I-35 to Loop 410, and this should hopefully wrap on Friday, June 23rd. Do have to take a jump over here to I-10 over on the east side of San Antonio, where we will see bridge work that begins Thursday night. This should wrap pretty quickly at 5 o'clock in the morning. We'll see a full closure of the I-10 westbound main lanes at Loop 410. All right, one more jump here to I-10 in Kendall County. Rail and painting repairs. This started on Monday and should wrap Friday, June 23rd, but this begins during a pretty busy hour, 9 o'clock in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. Alternating lane closures on the frontage road in both directions from State Highway 46 to US 87. Now, I know this is a lot of information for some of you, so scan this QR code. It's all important information. That takes you directly to our KSAT traffic page. We want you to utilize that QR code because it gets you in the know before you go, because all the road work is pretty much going to be taking place throughout the month of June, so know what to expect ahead of time.
Making headlines, I-95 in Philadelphia is going to be moving again this weekend. The portion of the highway that crumbled 2 weeks ago after a gas tanker crash exploding into flames. These repairs projected to take months, but now officials say temporary lanes are going to open this weekend. One major factor, crews used recycled glass nuggets to fill in the area, allowing them to avoid supply chain delays involved in using other types of materials.
Glass aggregate is not new. It's been used in Pennsylvania for 7 or 8 years. It's safe, it's sound, it's ready to go to work.
Driving on glass. Okay. This time-lapse video shows the void created after the overpass collapse. That gap now nearly filled. The estimated cost, $25 to $30 million. Once traffic is moving again this weekend, a new timeline is going to begin for rebuilding a permanent structure.
Now to the latest on the missing submersible that disappeared Sunday in the Atlantic Ocean with 5 people on board who were heading to see the wreckage of the Titanic. Overnight, investigators saying underwater noises were heard in the search area. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest for us.
Officials estimate there's less than 24 hours of oxygen left in a missing submersible with 5 people on board. The search is intensifying, rescue crews desperate to find the vessel. Overnight, the U.S. Coast Guard confirming a Canadian aircraft detected underwater noises Tuesday morning in the search area. But still no sign of the vessel. The Coast Guard's 1st District Commander speaking to CBS.
So there is a lot of metal and different objects in the water around this site. We've engaged experts from the Navy that can classify or give us better information about what the source of that noise may be.
The U.S., Canada, and France joining forces to scour more than 10,000 miles of ocean. The Titan vessel, operated by OceanGate Expeditions, disappeared an hour and 45 minutes into its journey Sunday morning to see the Titanic shipwreck. These are some of the last images taken before they entered the water.
Our crews are working around the clock to ensure that we are doing everything possible to locate the Titan.
All 5 people inside the sub now identified. British explorer and billionaire Hamish Harding, Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood, and his 19-year-old son Suleiman, world-renowned Titanic researcher and diver P.H. Narjuleh, and the CEO of OceanGate, Stockton Rush, who gave ABC affiliate Como a look inside the Titan as it was being built in 2018.
A team of 5 will squeeze into Titan for each dive and view the wreckage on these monitors. To fly the vessel, the pilot uses a PlayStation controller.
Now growing questions around safety features. In a 2018 counterclaim lawsuit, a former employee claims he was fired after warning about the sub's lack of physical safety scans. The company sued him for breach of contract and allegedly sharing company secrets. The disputes settled out of court. In a 2018 letter obtained by the New York Times and authenticated by ABC News, members of a committee specializing in submersibles expressed unanimous concern about the sub's safety. Members say OceanGate did make some changes after that letter. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Still ahead, how much money's been scammed in the past year from people living in just Kerr County? You'll be surprised.
And could it be a tall order? It's World Giraffe Day. What the San Antonio Zoo is doing to help celebrate.
And why a big newspaper company is filing a lawsuit against Google. That's coming up after the break.
Hello, everyone. These are your top headlines from Cheddar News. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 had its world premiere in Rome, and Tom Cruise is returning in the 7th installment in the Mission Impossible franchise. And it took place near the Vatican, and it attracted a very large audience. But the screening was delayed more than 90 minutes. That was because Tom Cruise held an unexpected meeting with the Italian Prime Minister. Meanwhile, newspaper magnate Gannett has filed a lawsuit against Google. They're accusing the tech giant of unlawfully monopolizing the advertising technology market. The lawsuit echoes arguments by the Justice Department in their second lawsuit against Google, which focused on the distribution of their search product. And a quarantine is now in place for a section of Broward County in Florida, all because of giant African land snails. The Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services made the announcement yesterday. Officials say people are not allowed to relocate the snails without an agreement from a government agency. And that's your Cheddar News Update. I'm Baker Machado, coming to you from Cheddar Studios in Lower Manhattan.
Right now, Kerr County experiencing an uptick in scam alerts, and this uptick has been going on for nearly a year.
The U.S. Secret Service Task Force is working with the county to help people be on the lookout for those tricks that these scammers use. Investigators say in the latest year, there has been about $2 million in losses from people living in the county. The elderly are the prime targets for these scams, and many of these scams are happening on social media and dating sites.
Contact law enforcement if you think you're a victim of a scam. The faster you get to reporting it to law enforcement, the more likely it is, if you've lost money, the more likely it is we might be able to help you recover it.
Law enforcement officials are working to stop these scams, but it's important to be aware and to have a guard up when talking to people on the internet or clicking on links and advertisements.
Looking outside with live cam, yeah, not a cloud in the sky so far. Later on tonight, that may not be the case.
We'll take as many clouds as we can get at this point. And I think clouds will help us a little bit tomorrow with the temperatures, but today they're soaring again. We're probably going to be right back up where we were yesterday. If you remember, we got up to 105. That was a record. Today's record is 106, so we may not get there. That was set back in 1936. Regardless, that heat index is still going to be up around 110, 115, so we got to be extra careful. We'll talk about the storms, and again, we do have an update on the tropics and what's going on with Brett coming up.
All right, no skirting it. We all know it's hot, but with heat indices breaking records, it's getting dangerous for people to be outside for long periods of time.
You really need to keep that in mind. Haven for Hope is doing what they can to help those in need who need a break from the heat. Members with Haven for Hope say that they're going out into the city and they are checking on the homeless. They are going to be checking on them 2 to 3 times a day to make sure they don't need help. Community outreach through the nonprofit could be a difference between life and death for some.
We do have space available. We've been running over our main capacity for the last year and a half. So we're averaging about 1,650 a day of clients that are sleeping at Haven for Hope.
Those who do accept help receive access to showers, 3 meals a day, and a cooler place to sleep, no doubt.
Hey, today is World Giraffe Day. The San Antonio Zoo has 3 giraffes, Alan and his children, Cosmo and Braden. Giraffes are known for being the tallest animals, so why not celebrate them on the longest day of the year? The zoo is celebrating World Giraffe Day by offering discounted tickets today. You can learn more by going to sazoo.org.
Hot Giraffe Day.
Hot giraffe. Hopefully they get a bucket of ice for their Giraffe Day or something cool. They have a pool over there? They don't have giraffes.
Justin's an expert at this.
No, I don't know about that, but I have been out there before. They've given them some of those ice pops. You know, they put some fruit and freeze it, and the animals love that. And I know they have their little housings, little areas they can go into where it's a little bit cooler. They're got to stay cool too. I mean, because these numbers are just getting outrageous. Yesterday the numbers were huge. We're going to see that again today. We start with the tropics, though. We get you an update on Brett. Where is it headed? It's going to head towards the islands here next couple of days. Now, we do think this will stay a tropical storm. There were some indications earlier that maybe it comes a low-end hurricane. Probably not. Doesn't look all that great on satellite. We've got a good spin, but we don't have that good thunderstorm activity that you would be indicative of a strong hurricane. So it's likely stays a weak tropical system. Still going to bring rain and wind, though, to the islands. And then we've got another system behind that still shows some promise, and another one right behind that. So it could get active here. It will stay active over the next couple of weeks. But Brett, winds are at 60, gusting to 70. It's moving west at 14. And then this system is still carrying about an 80% chance of development, according to the Hurricane Center. Brett is going to stay a tropical storm, as I said, as it moves into the Caribbean. And right now, by Saturday morning, it will have weakened a little bit. Winds will be at 45 miles per hour and probably falls apart after that. It's just moving into an area that's not as favorable for strengthening and development. So that is the latest with Brett. It does not appear it will have any impact on our forecast. What will is some activity coming out of the north and west and out of North Texas. This is what we'll be watching tonight. So notice it's still clear here around dinner time, 5 o'clock. But we'll be watching storms up across the hill country, Edwards Plateau. And some of these storms could hold together as they strengthen a little bit and move towards San Antonio, or at least make a run at San Antonio. Then later on, some indications that maybe these storms to the north cluster together and form a complex of showers and storms. Now, when we get these kind of systems, they sometimes can drop some pretty heavy rain. But at the moment, it looks like the bulk of that would be east of us. So hopefully we get something. We're putting in a 40% chance of showers and storms tonight. And there is a risk for some severe weather. There's an isolated risk. We're on the southern end of things. But the Storm Prediction Center does think some of these storms could produce some hail and gusty winds. The greater threat for that is going to be north of Austin and then up along I-20, Abilene to Fort Worth, up to Wichita Falls. That's where storms could get pretty rowdy a little bit later this afternoon. Right now, 92. Dew point is at 76. Heat index is 104. Dew points are still ridiculously high. And as a result, heat indices are really jumping up this afternoon. 112 is what it feels like in Boulevardy, 115 in Comfort, 106 Rio Medina. Stop me if this sounds familiar. This is where we've been last few days. But we have to keep repeating this because these numbers are borderline dangerous. 102 at 3 o'clock, 104 for 5 o'clock. We will fall down into the 90s tonight, but keep in mind we're adding in rain chances at this point. Some of those showers and storms potentially working their way towards San Antonio. And very quickly, high pressure moved just far enough west today to kind of open up the door for us to get some storms, but it shifts back over top of us by late in the weekend and early next week, which means more big-time heat. 99 Thursday, 100 Friday, and then triple digits going into early next week.
It's back. All right. Thank you.
Coming up, we are learning about a local martial arts studio and the summer camps they're hosting, what it all includes, and how you can sign your kids up. Coming up after the break. Martial arts, a great way to learn about your body, both physically and mentally. As we continue to highlight some of these summer camps in our area, we're getting a look at a local martial arts business that is looking to keep your kids active during this summer vacation.
Texas Tong Sodo has been in our community for nearly 40 years. Owner and master instructor Patrick West believes martial arts is an essential sport for everyone to learn.
Promote health, self-defense, and to be a better person.
At his studio, West focuses on teaching Tong Sodo, which is a nearly 2,000-year-old Korean martial art. Classes are held year-round, but during the summer, the studio will hold camps for current and new students.
One of the great things about the camp is there's no experience needed.
Third-degree black belt and camp director John Klein works with the camp kids. The camps focus on kicking techniques, forms of jumping, and rolling. He believes this is a great way to help kids stay active while school is out.
This gives them a chance to keep moving on, to keep moving their body and not let it get stagnant from sitting too long.
The camps also zero in on the mental aspect of martial arts, learning how to focus the mind on the task at hand. Parents have the option to pick how many days their child will attend. The studio offers the 5th day free for parents who sign and pay for the first 4 days of the camp.
The main purpose is to provide a safe place so families can come together.
Texas Tong Sodo is still accepting spots for their upcoming summer camps. You can enroll by heading to KSAT12. David Sears, KSAT12 News.
And coming up tomorrow on GMSA at 9, we are going on point with another summer camp, a sport you might not know a lot about.
Fencing it's a very dynamic sport. The game is always evolving.
We'll tell you more about where this fencing summer camp is taking place and how you can still get the kids signed up. It's tomorrow on GMSA at 9. My brother used to do that.
I fenced an 8-year-old years ago.
He beat you?
Oh, yeah, I could hardly get off the floor. Hey, I want to remind you about the Spurs draft party. Starts today at 5. Tomorrow, Spurs draft night, 5, 6, 6:30. Extended Spurs draft coverage. Night beat. Larry Ramirez is in New York getting ready. And then draft tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, live, right here on KSAT12.
And if you're looking for a place to watch the draft, we have a few of them. The AT&T Center hosting an official NBA draft watch party. It's free, but you still need to get a ticket to get in. And the Pearl is hosting a watch party under the shade structure near the Boiler House. Some local bars hosting include the Rue Pub, the Friendly Spot, and the Dooryard. You can learn more about these watch parties. Head over to KSAT.com.
Watch Mike and Fiona magically appear. Watch this. Look.
Here we go.
Ready?
And boom, two.
Get with it, Mike. There you go.
You were watching. I couldn't get it stopped. Jared Halton is here, San Antonio's own, and he is going to be on the Majestic stage for the next couple of weeks, starting in Hamilton.
Yes.
All right, and we're going to learn a couple more dance steps.
Yeah,
right?
if you want to be on Broadway, you got to know the simple dance move of the jazz square. So we're here. Ba, ba, ba. You can add a little.
That's what we've been working on for an hour and a half.
Yes, indeed. What's it like to be in a show like that? We're going to be talking to him in just a little bit. Also, talk to some other big actors from 1883, that series, the prequel to Yellowstone, and the new way you can see that.
Oh, and we are going to tell you about a deal you don't want to miss.
Nope, and you don't want to miss this because Shailene McNeil with Beef Lovin' Texans. Look at that beautiful dinner here.
Balanced meal, awesome tip for how to slice the perfect steak. What we want to do is freeze it just a little bit. A light freeze is a nice little tip to get that perfect cube carving so we can cube perfectly here when we have a nice freezer tip.
And make that meal in that foil bag right there. We're going to tell you about that. You need some wine to wash that down as well.
Oh, he's already on it. Jared's on it.
Why not?
Hey, I like that. Well, he showed us the dance steps too, but we're going to tell you how you can attend a great wine tasting, and it all benefits some animals up there at the Hill Country Plus Social.
We want to know, would you just take a vacation somewhere, or would you rather have a month-long stay 200 miles from home?
Or somewhere far away? We'll answer that question. A whole lot more coming up on SA Live. Stick around.